If you love the thrill of the chase but hate loose ends, then unravel the mystery of Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch. In the late 1800s, the American West was a playground for outlaws, and at the center of it all was the Wild Bunch, a gang that pulled off some of the most daring heists in history. Led by the charming Butch Cassidy, they robbed banks, trains, and stole horses, always staying one step ahead of the law. But who were they really? Was Butch Cassidy a Robin Hood figure or just a man chasing thrills? With members like the deadly Sundance Kid and the enigmatic Etta Place, this gang was a mix of charisma and danger. Their escapades were legendary, but their downfall was even more dramatic. Tracked relentlessly by the Pinkerton Detective Agency, their luck eventually ran out. Or did it? Some say Butch and Sundance died in Bolivia, but rumors of their survival persist to this day. The truth remains shrouded in mystery, making the Wild Bunch a fascinating chapter in true crime history. Want more tales of notorious figures? Subscribe now and dive deeper into the shadows of... I'm sure you've heard the news about Wild Bill Hickok, but do you know the full story? Let's dive into a tale of bravery, fame and betrayal. Born in 1837, James Butler Hickok, known to the world as Wild Bill, was more than just a gunslinger. A Union soldier, scout and lawman, he roamed the Wild West with a reputation that made men tremble. His sharpshooting skills were legendary, earning him a place in dime novels and folk tales. But fame comes at a price. On August 2nd, 1876, in Deadwood, South Dakota, Wild Bill sat down for a game of poker. The cards he held? A pair of aces and eights forever known as the dead man's hand. Jack McCaw, a drifter nursing a grudge, approached from behind and fired a single bullet. Hickok's life was snuffed out in an instant, leaving behind a legacy steeped in both fact and fiction. From lawman to legend, Wild Bill Hickok's story is a poignant reminder of the thin line between heroism and tragedy. Want to uncover more tales of notorious figures in history? Hit subscribe and join us on this journey through time.
Mexico's most notorious figures, Poncho Villa. Born in 1878, Villa started as a bandit, but he soon became a revolutionary leader and a folk hero. Villa's early life was marked by struggle. He was forced to flee his home after killing a local hacienda owner in defense of his sister. This set him on a path of banditry, but also sowed the seeds of his revolutionary spirit. In the early 20th century, Mexico was ripe for change. Villa joined forces with Francisco Madero to overthrow the dictator Porfirio Diaz. As a leader of the División del Norte, Villa became a key figure in the Mexican Revolution. He was known for his tactical brilliance and his Robin Hood-like persona, redistributing land and wealth to the poor. But Villa's life wasn't all heroics. He had a ruthless side, marked by violent raids and executions. His infamous raid on Columbus, New Mexico in 1916 brought him into conflict with the United States, leading to a manhunt by General Pershing. Despite this, he remained a symbol of resistance against oppression. In 1923, Villa's life came to a violent end when he was assassinated, but his legacy lives on. He's remembered as both a villain and a hero, a true embodiment of the complexities of revolution. If you're fascinated by notorious figures like Poncho Villa, don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales from history. Thanks for watching.
Greetings, history enthusiasts. Today we'll embark on an enthralling journey back to the Wild West. Our focus is on one of its most enigmatic figures, Black Bart, the gentleman bandit. Born as Charles E. Bowles in 1829, Black Bart transformed into a legendary outlaw during the late 1800s. But unlike other bandits of his time, Bart had a peculiar code of conduct. He never fired a shot, and his politeness earned him an unusual reputation. Let me paint a picture for you. It's a dusty trail somewhere in California. The year is 1877. A Wells Fargo stagecoach rumbles along loaded with treasure and passengers. Suddenly, out of the bushes emerges a masked figure. Dressed in a long duster coat with a flour sack over his head and 2 eye holes cut out, he brandishes a shotgun and commands, "Throw down the box, gentlemen." This was Black Bart's signature phrase. What set Bart apart wasn't just his polite demeanor, but his flair for the dramatic. He left behind poetic messages at the scene of his crimes, taunting the lawmen and thrilling the public. One such note read, "Here I lay me down to sleep to wait the coming morrow." Perhaps success, perhaps defeat and everlasting sorrow. Intriguing, isn't it? Despite his non-violent methods, Bart's heists were no less effective. Over a span of 8 years, he successfully carried out 28 stagecoach robberies, each time eluding capture with ease. His cunning and elusive nature made him a folk hero to some and a formidable adversary to law enforcement. But as the saying goes, every legend must come to an end. In 1883, Black Bart's luck finally ran out. During a heist, he dropped a handkerchief with a laundry mark. This seemingly insignificant clue led detectives to a laundry in San Francisco and eventually to Charles E. Bowles. Bart was arrested and sentenced to 6 years in San Quentin State Prison. Upon release, he vanished into obscurity, leaving behind a legacy wrapped in mystery and folklore. Some say he retired peacefully, while others believe he returned to his old ways under a new guise. Black Bart's story remains a captivating chapter in the annals of American history. His blend of civility and criminality makes him a figure of enduring fascination. Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history. The Wild West was a land of lawlessness, where only the toughest survived. Fortunes were made and lost in the blink of an eye, and disputes were settled with the cold steel of a six-shooter. You know the legends: Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Jesse James. But some figures were too terrifying to remember, their deeds so dark that history itself seemed to want to forget them. Join us as we count down the most terrifying Wild West figures you've never heard of. Our journey into the heart of darkness begins with Johnny Ringo. Born into a life on the move, Ringo drifted into the West with a cloud of mystery. He was educated and charming, yet prone to sudden bursts of violence. Ringo was a prominent member of the Cochise County Cowboys, a group of outlaws terrorizing Arizona. He earned a reputation as a fearsome gunfighter, his skill with a revolver matched by his cold-blooded demeanor. One story tells of a confrontation in a Tombstone saloon over a card game that escalated into a deadly duel. Ringo, cool as ever, faced his opponent in the dusty street and was faster. Fast forward to July 1882, he was found dead near Turkey Creek, Arizona, with a single bullet wound to the head. Was it suicide, or had Ringo's violent past caught up with him? The truth remains elusive. If the Wild West had a devil in human form, it might be John Wesley Hardin. Born in Texas in 1853, Hardin's life was a whirlwind of violence. By his own count, he killed over 40 men. At 14, he shot and killed a man for the first time, a dark omen of his future. He drifted from town to town, leaving a trail of bodies. One chilling tale took place in Abilene, Kansas, where he clashed with lawman Wild Bill Hickok. Disarmed by Hickok in a saloon, Hardin continued his rampage, killing several more men before being apprehended in Florida in 1877. Hardin's reign of terror ended behind bars, but his legend lived on. He remains one of the most prolific killers in Wild West history. Number 3, Dallas Staudenmeier, the lawman with lightning in his hands. In the untamed West, figures like Dallas Staudenmeier walked the line between order and chaos. Known for his quiet demeanor and steely gaze, Staudenmeier was a staunch believer in law and order. His name became synonymous with deadly accuracy after a fateful day in El Paso, Texas. On April 14, 1881, a dispute over cattle escalated into a deadly confrontation. Staudenmeier, a lone figure of authority, drew his pistols. In seconds, the air was filled with gunfire and 3 men lay dead. The 4 dead in 5 seconds gunfight cemented Staudenmeier's reputation as a legendary lawman. Less than a year later, he was gunned down in an ambush, dying as he lived, a protector of the innocent. Number 4, Tom Horn, the shadowy reaper. Few figures embody the chilling ambiguity of the Wild West like Tom Horn. A skilled tracker, Pinkerton detective and hired killer, Horn was a ghost-like presence feared by all. His methods were brutal, his efficiency unmatched. One of his most infamous exploits involved the disappearance of cattle rustler Matt Rash. Horn tracked Rash for weeks, cornering him in a remote cabin. When Horn emerged, Rash was gone, vanished without a trace. Horn's end was no less controversial. Convicted of killing a 14-year-old boy, he vehemently denied the crime. Despite pleas for clemency, Horn was hanged in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1903. Number 5, Jim Miller, the ice-cold assassin. Jim Miller, known as Killin' Jim and the Deacon, was a cold-blooded killer devoid of remorse. Born in 1861, Miller's skill with a gun quickly became legendary. His demeanor set him apart, cold, calculating, and utterly devoid of emotion. One story tells of a confrontation in a Pecos, Texas saloon. Miller, challenged to a duel, drew his weapon with lightning speed and fired, killing his opponent. Miller's reign of terror ended in Ada, Oklahoma, in 1909. Convicted of murder and sentenced to hang, his last words were, "Let her rip." Jim Miller, the ice-cold assassin, left this world as he lived it, a chilling reminder of the Wild West's unforgiving nature. If you enjoyed this content and are a history freak like us, please subscribe for more videos on the most notorious figures in history. Oh, and yes, please comment. We even enjoy the negative ones.
Today we're
Cheers.
diving into the Wild West's most infamous gunfights. These are the showdowns that have become legendary, capturing the imagination of generations. Get ready for a countdown of legendary showdowns that shaped the frontier. These gunfights were not just battles, they were defining moments that left an indelible mark on the history of the American West. Starting off at number 5, we have Jesse James. More renowned for his robberies, Jesse was no stranger to a shootout. His life was a constant battle against the law. As the leader of the James Younger gang, he faced numerous deadly encounters with law enforcement. These confrontations were often bloody and brutal. These gunfights cemented his fearsome reputation as one of the Wild West's most notorious outlaws. His daring escapades and relentless defiance of the law made him a legend. Coming in at number 4, it's Doc Holliday. A gambler, dentist, and ruthless gunfighter, Holliday's marksmanship was legendary. His skills with a gun were as sharp as his wit. His role in the gunfight at the OK Corral alongside the Earp brothers made him one of the most feared figures in the West. This gunfight is one of the most famous in Western lore. Known for his deadly accuracy, Holliday's duels were the stuff of legends. His reputation as a deadly gunfighter was well earned, and his name still evokes images of the Wild West's lawless days. At number 3, we have Wild Bill Hickok. Hickok's 1865 duel in Springfield, Missouri against Davis Tutt is considered the first quick-draw duel. This iconic showdown set the standard for future gunfights. This event shaped the iconic image of the Western gunfighter. The quick-draw duel became a staple of Western mythology. Hickok's impeccable aim and cool demeanor in a standoff made him a legend in his own right. His calm under pressure and deadly precision were unmatched. Holding the second spot is Billy the Kid. Known for his involvement in the Lincoln County War, Billy's reputation as a quick-draw outlaw grew as he took down lawmen and rivals alike. His youthful bravado and deadly skills made him a feared figure. His death at the hands of Sheriff Pat Garrett only added to his mystique, making him one of the most infamous figures in Western history. The legend of Billy the Kid continues to captivate the imagination of many. And finally, at number 1, we have Wyatt Earp. Famous for the gunfight at the OK Corral in 1881, Earp, alongside his brothers and Doc Holliday, faced off against the Clanton-McClory gang in Tombstone, Arizona. This confrontation is one of the most storied events in Western history. This 30-second shootout is one of the most legendary gunfights in Wild West history. The brevity of the battle belies its lasting impact on the American frontier. Wyatt Earp's bravery and skill in this showdown have made him an enduring symbol of the American frontier. Subscribe for more videos on notorious figures in history.